I did a call out on my Instagram for questions. All through December I will have the question box on my stories, so if you want to ask me a question, head to my Instagram now, and here is me answering a few of your questions. So it's coming towards the end of the day, and I thought I would answer some questions. All through December I will be doing a story and adding the little box, and here are some questions that I got today. Sophie Jones, I'm sorry if I mess up any of the names, asked, what do you do when you get tired and can't motivate yourself? I actually did a video on motivation here on my YouTube channel. I don't remember what I said, but I worked really hard on that video, so I'm gonna put it in the description. Here are some clips, I guess. I have no motivation today at all. We as artists, we want like the perfect day, the perfect weather, the perfect feeling, the perfect amount of sleep the night before, this like perfectness to be able to make the best work possible. And the reality is that successful people in this world don't sit around and wait for motivation to happen, to arrive. It's not like a fairy, like we can't just sit around and wait for this like magic to come to us. And the more that you look into motivation and start to understand it and start to look at successful people and what they do, you will become very aware, and I've become very aware, that motivation is bullshit. Really what we want and what we should be striving for as people that want to do things and be successful is, it's all about discipline, focus, habits and behaviour change, and all of those things you are in complete control of doing. And I think the less we can let go of this word of motivation, which will come and go, and the more we start to think about our own habits and our own discipline and behaviour change and focus, I think we can start to, as creatives, look at how we make work more with an entrepreneurial energy rather than this kind of like, I have to wait for the muse to arrive, you know. The reality is that, you know, you can't just sit around waiting for everything to be perfect to be making your best work. You have to find a way to push through those days you really don't feel like doing. Yeah, I get really tired in the winter because I have seasonal depression. I don't know if you can tell, I am exhausted. I guess coffee. I don't, because I had anxiety for so long, I really went off coffee. But during the winter months I rely heavily on coffee, which means I have like one a day because I'm very sensitive to it, and I will have my last coffee at like 3 to give me enough time to like wind down from it. And make sure you're taking breaks. I use the Pomodoro technique when I'm feeling really tired, which basically means you work for 20-minute chunks. I'll link an app down below. Forest is the app that I love using. And if you get enough points on that app, it makes you grow. You can grow a real tree, which is awesome. Oh, my friend asked me, how are you doing? I'm okay. I'm feeling better today, but I haven't been okay, but I feel like I'm coming out of it. But really, I'm healthy, I'm breathing, I'm alive, I'm well, and I have a lot to be grateful for, so I'm doing okay. Join X, the X dots said, how are you going to celebrate on Thursday? On Thursday is the election here in the UK. That sounds very optimistic. I'm a very optimistic person, but for the last few elections I've had my heart broken into a million pieces twice now, and I refuse to really think too much about it. Obviously I'm voting, I think everyone knows who I'm going to be voting for. But I've kind of not really got any hope for it. The last election, I stayed up all night and watched it live as the results came in, and there was a moment where it was gonna turn out the way that I want it to, and then that just got ripped away from me. And I can't do it again. And so I'm not falling for this. I am gonna stand on the sidelines, obviously scream and shout about who I'm voting for, and encourage people to register to vote and all that stuff, which I have done on my Instagram. Still trying to be quite politically engaged at the same time. But I have my work social, I believe, on the same day, so I think it will be a case of like, we'll be drinking away our sorrows, or we'll be celebrating. I think it's always important, like, it's nice that I have something fun planned. Either way it goes. It was so horrible being in my bed alone at 4 in the morning watching the result come in. It was sad. Hyson by a sign. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Name 3 things you would teach your younger self. Confidence. But confidence really does just come with putting in the work. I think I was too afraid that they would let me not show up for myself. Confidence, really being good, some sort of like smartness around money. Just make sure you have savings. Check your bank account before you go out and spend a ridiculous amount of money, and stop getting rounds in for people who don't get rounds back. You don't have to buy a round of tequila for everyone at 4 in the morning. That's probably not a good idea. What else would I teach my younger self? Probably not that being alone and single is like actually really fun, and it's much better to be single than in a relationship with someone who treats you like I don't know if you wanted me to answer that around creativity, but I didn't. Little Gretel 8 said, do you have any ways to approach someone that you want to talk to? This is good. You could do on the DMs, slide in someone's DMs. I don't know if you meant professionally or like romantically. But yeah, internet is great. You don't have to like speak anyone to ask them out. You can just DM them or message them. A little trick that I used to do when I was younger, before before you could slide into someone's DMs, is just give someone your number and literally go out the door, run away. Be like, hey, I like you, here's my number. You don't have to message me or anything, but I'd love to see you again, and then just leave. But in terms of professionalness, I've DM'd so many artists that have inspired me, and now they're all like my friends, so that's wild. I would just be cool. Like, it's okay to fangirl. I thought I was a loser because I was fangirling all the time, but just be yourself, and as long as you're sweet and kind and caring and also respectful, like not everyone is going to get back to you, and that's okay. Message anyone you want to, as long as you're sweet, kind, respectful. If it's a professional setting, make sure you're professional. And also don't expect anything from anyone, because I mean, if it's someone that you look up to, chances are there might be a chance that they'll be too busy to reply. Yeah. Okay. Oh, create underscore underscore said, how do you cope with the horrors happening in the world, like climate change, etc.? I don't. I kind of don't. I find it really hard. It's become, especially as I've grown more of a following on Instagram, and when I post something that's political, I know that I'm asking for people's opinions, and people are going to comment and like engage with it positively but also negatively, and like that's fine, but it's really hard to see like people go off in the comments, and like like every time my phone kind of goes off now, there's a part of me that's like tenses because I don't know what's gonna happen. I am just really good with my mental health, and I'm not on my phone all the time. I think it's really important to be aware of how much we're consuming versus creating, and just try and get that balance right. And when I'm really feeling overwhelmed and anxious about the world, it's probably because I've got the balance wrong. And also in history, reading a lot about history has really helped, understanding that every change that's happened positively has come from ordinary people, and I think that's what gives me a lot of hope, is knowing that people have been up against worse and gotten through it and gotten over it, and also made huge fundamental change happen already for us to be in the position that we are. And so yeah, I think it's a balance between, you know, I've said to some of my friends before who love Twitter, if you were feeling particularly anxious, been like, you know, maybe you should take a break from Twitter. Like you don't have to read everything. I think it's important to read. I also don't consume like news stuff. I like to read articles, and there are particular people on Instagram that I think their stories are really almost like basically my news channel. Gina Martin. But yeah, I try, and I think it's important to have that balance right between reading the news and making artwork, and if I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's probably because I've got the balance wrong. And I think there is a pressure to like read everything, and once you kind of get sucked in, you feel like you have to know everything. And yeah, I think, I don't know, that's all the questions I'm going to answer today. I might answer more tomorrow. Yeah, thanks so much for everyone's questions. Do I have anything else to say? It's really so nice to have someone off the camera to be like, you have this to say and this to say. I have a shop, you can buy my stuff on my shop. Everything will be linked below. And that's it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!